Okay, so Samsung's Galaxy S Ultra series has always generally been about pushing boundaries, setting the gold standard for what a premium smartphone should be. But with the S25 Ultra, which I've been using for the last 2 weeks, I don't know, it feels like Samsung isn't really pushing anymore, they're just kind of cruising. See, the big new thing that Samsung is pushing this year is AI. It's everywhere, and this phone is full of features limited to the S25 Ultra. But the way they're marketing these features, you'd think they're a massive leap forward, when really it's just a handful of cool but very specific use cases. So they're impressive, yes, but they're not the kind of must-have upgrades that make this phone a must-buy or a must-upgrade to. Now, with that aside, this is definitely one of the best flagship phones out there. It's powerful, polished, and packed with high-end features. But if you've been following Samsung's Ultra lineup, you've definitely seen most of this before. There's not a lot new here. So, is Samsung still leading the way in the smartphone market, or this year, are they just playing it safe? Let's get into it and find out. I've timestamped all the sections below so you can skip straight to the part you're interested in. And hey, if you like honest, no-nonsense tech reviews, make sure to subscribe. It really helps the channel out. This is the S25 Ultra. My name is Patch. Welcome to the Tech Shed. Now, I always think a good place to start is by looking at the price. This is an expensive phone no matter where you buy it. Here's some prices from around the world. Obviously, I can't put every single damn country in this list, so you can do some currency conversions if you need to. Now, if you've ever seen a Galaxy Ultra before, you probably already know what the S25 Ultra looks like. It's the same big, sleek, premium design. Here's a side-by-side comparison of the S25 Ultra next to the S24 Ultra. Can you tell the difference? If not, I don't blame you because they're almost identical. However, Samsung has tweaked a few things to make the S25 Ultra slightly more comfortable to hold. The corners, I'm not sure if you can see, they're a little rounder, the phone is a tiny bit taller, and it's just a smidgen narrower. It's nothing drastic, but it's just enough to feel a little more refined. They've also upgraded the materials to grade 5 titanium, which is stronger and more durable than the standard titanium they used on the S24 Ultra, but everybody with any sense uses a case, so who cares? It's also lighter at 218 grams. The S24 Ultra is 233 grams. Again, you're probably definitely not going to be able to tell the difference, but there's that. It also uses Gorilla Armor 2 glass on the front and back, which again is supposed to make it even more scratch and drop resistant, but that's about it. Everything else right where you'd expect it. There's a compartment for the S Pen, if I can get it out. That's another thing that kind of annoys me. Down the bottom, there's a 5-camera array, the volume rocker on the side, and the on-off button, I can't remember what's the actual term for that, on the same side as well. It's all the same, but to be honest, I don't really mind this. The S24 Ultra, in my opinion, already had a great design, and there wasn't really a need for a drastic change, a massive makeover. I do like the rounded corners, it does look more sleek, but as I say, it's not a huge change. If you are hoping for a fresh new look, yeah, you're not going to get that. As we all know, Samsung makes some of the best smartphone displays. Well, if you didn't know, now you know. And shockingly, the S25 Ultra screen is amazing. It's a 6.9-inch dynamic AMOLED 2X screen, which is just a smidge bigger than last year's 6.8-inch screen. It still has HDR10 Plus compatibility, a buttery smooth 120Hz refresh rate, and an eye-searing 2600 nits of peak brightness, so you can use it directly in the sun and see everything you want to see. So yeah, it's still one of the best screens out there, but it's also basically the same as last year's screen. I say basically, the only real change is that new Gorilla Armor 2 I was talking about earlier, which makes it more durable. Nice to have, sure, but not exactly a game changer. That said, the display itself, it's gorgeous. Deep blacks, vibrant colors, and super smooth scrolling. If you're upgrading from a much older phone, you're going to be blown away. If you had the S24 Ultra, you'll notice nothing. It's pretty much exactly the same. Now, the camera setup is mostly unchanged, but there is one technical upgrade. The ultra-wide lens has gone from a 12 megapixel lens to a 50 megapixel lens. Now, on paper, that should mean sharper wide-angle shots, better cropping, and improved low-light performance. But should is the key word here. In reality, there's barely any difference. I took some photos with both the S24 Ultra and the S25 Ultra, and you can't tell the difference. I'll try to show some comparisons in this video, but with YouTube's compression, you probably won't even be able to notice. I could barely tell a difference and I was looking at both screens. Everything else in the camera system is exactly the same. The main camera is still a 200 megapixel lens, and the telephoto setup is still a 10 megapixel 3x zoom plus a 50 megapixel 5x periscope lens. This is still the king for zoomed photography, though the Oppo Find X Pro, you can check my review of that up there, is giving it a run for its money. Now, I've said all that, but photos, I must stress, photos still look fantastic. Samsung's image processing is top tier, but I was just really hoping for something to get excited about. I don't know, a bigger sensor upgrade, just anything. There's literally nothing different with the cameras, and it's a shame because what an opportunity. Under the hood, this bad boy's rocking the Snapdragon 8 Elite chipset. Now, we ran it through a couple of tests to really put it to the test, and we started off with a Geekbench 6 CPU test, which, surprise, surprise, tests the capabilities of the CPU. It achieved a single-core score of 3131 and a multi-core score of 9887. We also tested the GPU using 3D Mark software, where it achieved a score of 6100 with an average frame rate of 36.53. Now, these scores probably mean absolutely nothing to you. What I'm going to tell you is this is a beast of a phone. To prove that, we compared it to the S24 Ultra, which achieved a single core score of 2259 and a multi-core score of 7150. And on the 3D Mark GPU test, it achieved a score of 4867 with an average FPS of 29.14. So, obviously, based on these tests, the S25 Ultra is faster and more efficient and better at handling intensive tasks like gaming and AI. However, at this point, I don't think that performance is really a good way to judge a phone anymore. Chips are already so fast that they can handle pretty much anything you throw at them, so even when they get upgraded and technically become faster and more efficient, you don't really notice it in day-to-day use. On both the S25 Ultra and the S24 Ultra, apps open instantly, gaming is buttery smooth, and multitasking is seamless. But all that, as I say, could be said about the S24 Ultra. Now, the one new thing with the performance is with the S25 Ultra, I'm getting sick of saying Ultra, there's now a 16GB RAM option. But you can only get it if you buy the 1TB internal storage model, which costs a whole lot more than the lesser models internal. You know what I'm trying to say. The storage options, the rest of them are pretty much the same. So yeah, the S25 Ultra is still one of the fastest phones you can buy, but unless you're doing heavy AI processing or serious video editing, I'm not sure who is on a phone, you probably won't notice a huge leap in performance. Samsung's been pushing AI pretty hard with the S25 Ultra, which is fair enough. Which company hasn't been pushing AI in the last 2 years? And yes, some of these features that are specific or limited to the S25 Ultra are seriously cool, but here's the thing. They're not the kind of upgrades that everybody is going to benefit from, like a better display or longer battery life. Instead, they're super specific tools that will be, I'm sure, amazing for some people, but for others like myself, you might just forget that they exist. Now Brief gives you a quick rundown of your day, weather, traffic, reminders, even what you got up to, which sounds useful, right? But personally, I never really needed it and never really used it. Now, Audio Eraser is a little bit different. This is legitimately impressive. It removes background noise from videos while keeping the sounds you actually want. You can kind of play with the levels, get rid of traffic noise, boost your voice. Great for content creators, and it could be a game changer, but for the average person, unless you're constantly filming in noisy places, you probably won't think to use it. I mean, how many times do you go back and edit your videos? Well, I suppose I can't talk for everybody, but I never do. Anyway, the big dog, the big new AI feature is cross-app Gemini integration, and it's probably the biggest leap forward in my opinion. Instead of being stuck in one app, Gemini can now string actions across multiple apps. So you can say, find me a restaurant on Google Maps, grab the menu, and text it to my friend Jeremiah, and it will do all of that for you, which is awesome, in theory. The problem? As we all know, AI assistants still get things mixed up, and in the time it takes me to repeat myself 2 or 3 times, I could have just Googled it myself. Now, I believe the idea is game-changing, but in reality, I just never naturally found myself using it. Now, there's another AI feature called ProScaler, which boosts image quality, sharpening details and textures, which is a cool feature. It works well, but again, it's something you'll only use if you need it. So, yeah, I need to set the record straight. I don't think that these are gimmicks. They do work, and in the right situations, they're really impressive. But whether these AI features feel like a big deal or just an extra perk totally depends on how you use your phone. And I believe that AI has a long way to go before it completely replaces simply doing things yourself. At least for me it does. 9 times out of 10, I still just do things manually as opposed to using Gemini, and I put that down to the fact that I never really know what I can do with it and what its limitations are. Can I change my phone settings with Gemini? Can I make a Spotify playlist? Can I tell you about a YouTube video I just watched on the Tech Shed and make sure you subscribe to it, phone? Samsung is pushing AI like it's the big upgrade this year, but it just doesn't feel like that. It's not a must-have, it's not a major reason to upgrade, and because of that, it really limits the phone's appeal. Now, a few of you will be happy to know that, like the S25 Ultra, Samsung has maintained that smushing of the Ultra phone with the old school Samsung Note phones. So the S Pen is still here. It still slots neatly into the phone, but Samsung have actually removed some features this year. For reasons I do not know. The S Pen on the S25 Ultra had Bluetooth capabilities. You could use it as a remote shutter for your camera, a media controller, or even a presentation clicker type thing. Next slide. That's gone. In the S25 Ultra, that's gone. Now it's just a plain stylus, which is fine if all you do is write and sketch, but if you relied on those Bluetooth features, this is a step backwards. I don't know why it was removed. Just impacting people that used to use it like that. Why? Battery life is solid. It's the same 5,000 milliampere hour. That's a tricky word to say. Milliampere hour. I'm going to stick with that. Capacity as before. It easily lasts a full day, although you probably get a little bit more because of the efficiency of that new chipset. Now for charging, it's also unchanged, 45 watt wired and 15 watt wireless. The only new thing, it now supports Qi2 wireless charging, which is supposed to be more efficient if you have compatible accessories. So yeah, it's still a very good battery experience, but again, no real improvements. Faster charging would have been nice, but Samsung seems fine just keeping things the same and not putting a charger in the damn box. Alright, we've made it to the end. I'm sweaty, I'm tired, and I have to admit, the Samsung Galaxy S25 Ultra is a great phone, refined, polished, and packed with premium features. But here's the thing. It doesn't feel new, and surely that's the point of a new flagship phone. If it doesn't feel new, is there much point? Yes, the titanium frame is tougher and the AI features are interesting, but outside of that, the display, battery, and performance feel pretty much the same as last year. And the S Pen, it actually does less now, which is a very interesting decision. Now, if you're upgrading from an older phone, this is a fantastic, albeit expensive buy. You're getting top tier performance, a gorgeous display, and solid cameras, but if you already own an S24 Ultra, there's just not enough here to justify the switch. And that whole AI push, it's cool, it's interesting, and there's real potential there, but it's not a must-have upgrade in my opinion. Most of those features feel like things that will eventually roll out to older Galaxy phones. And they're so specific that I'm not convinced they'll impact how most people actually use their phone day to day. So, in conclusion, the S25 Ultra is still one of the best phones you can buy. But if you are hoping for something big, something that truly pushes the Ultra lineup forward, this isn't it. And unfortunately, it begs the question, why buy an S25 Ultra when I can buy a cheaper S24 Ultra and have almost the same experience? Anyway, that's been my review. Thank you for watching. Hit that subscribe button if you enjoyed this video, and if you didn't, I thank you for watching this long. My name is Patch, this has been the Tech Shed, and I'll see you in the next one.